Welcome to Travel Tuesday with Teresa, the ultimate source of wanderlust inspiration. Join the journey led by your host, Teresa Belcher, founder of Honeymoon Islands.
Hello, and welcome to Travel Tuesday with Teresa. I'm Teresa Belcher, your host, the founder of Honeymoon Islands. And today we have two presentations. We have James Kavanagh calling live from New Zealand. Hi, welcome, James.
Kia ora, thank you, Teresa.
James is going to give us a tour of his three properties. He represents Robertson Lodges. So I'm going to attempt to say these names the American way, and he's going to correct me and give me the Kiwi version. But we have first up Kauri Cliffs, Matakauri, and Cape Kidnappers. Did I say those correctly?
Pretty close, Teresa. So in New Zealand, in our Māori language, and AU is pronounced as an O sound. So we're Kauri Cliffs, Matakauri, and Cape Kidnappers, which should be okay for everyone out there.
Close enough. Well, that's the American way. So next up, we have Maureen Kim coming from California, and she's going to showcase her South Pacific properties, which is Kokomo property in Fiji, and the Brando property in Tahiti. Both of those are on their own private islands. So welcome, Maureen.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate you guys spending time. So we're going to start with James. So if you want to share your screen, take it away, James.
Will do, thank you. And kia ora koutou, everyone. Welcome all. Thank you for joining us. I'm delighted to be able to share our three properties with you and I guess introduce you to New Zealand if you're new to the destination. If you know a little bit about us, fantastic. We'll go into a little bit more detail about these three properties that I'm fortunate enough to represent. So as Teresa said at the top, we're with a collection of three lodges. Kauri Cliffs in the far north of New Zealand, in the coastland, in the Bay of Islands region. We Cape Kidnappers in the Hawke's Bay, which is for New Zealand, that's wine country, and Matakauri Lodge just outside the small town of Queenstown, which is a beautiful little alpine resort village down here in the South Island, right down the bottom. So I'm fortunate enough to be based down here. We have the mountains and lake right out front the window. I'm already sharing, so I might show you a little bit about what's actually outside the window later on if we get a chance. So look, I'll jump into this, and forgive me if we're going over old ground for Kiwi veterans, but we will sort of cover a bit of the geography and a bit of the logistics as well, because that's an important part of getting to know the destination and understanding how your clients are going to experience the country. So Aotearoa, New Zealand, two islands, north and south. We have, excuse me, I'll just get that. There we go. So north and south, two properties on the North Island, Kauri Cliffs in the far north, in the Bay of Islands area. This is all about the coastland. It's about the ocean. We're sailing, we're fishing, we're islands, white sand beaches and palm trees. Cape Kidnappers in the wine country down in the middle of the North Island. And down here at the bottom of Te Waka Maui, the South Island, Matakauri Lodge, just outside the small city of Queenstown. So three distinct locations, three unique properties as well. We're certainly not a rinse and repeat experience. Each of these will have its own USPs, its own atmosphere, its own destinational highlights. And the properties themselves are quite different, as you'll see we go through. So starting up here in the far north, and I should say as well, look, most of your clients, they're coming in from long haul, particularly from the United States. They're likely landing point into New Zealand is going to be in Auckland, and we're then about a 40-minute flight up to Kauri Cliffs. So we're in the small village of Kerikeri. We're just outside here. We're all about the coastline, about the ocean. This is very much the Kiwi coastal vacation destination. We can chopper up here. We're also about a 45-minute drive, 4 to 5 hour drive from Auckland, I should say, and about an hour 10 by chopper right onto the lawn. So introducing the property, we're a 6,000 acre working estate. So we're originally a sheep farm back in the day. So the original owners, the Robertson family, so current owners, I should say, purchased the farm, decided he wanted to build a golf course. And then Josie Robertson, Julian's wife, had the foresight to build this lodge to host and entertain visitors. So we're 22 suites and 4 villas at the property. All of the lodgings outside of the main lodge. The main lodge itself is social and dining, and we're just sort of exploring here through some of the room types and give you a general understanding of the look and feel of the property. This is, we're actually looking at here, one of the new 4-bedroom villas, which was opened during the pandemic. So we were pretty busy in our lockdown time here in New Zealand. It's a super active destination. So we're very much about the outdoors here in New Zealand. And a lot of the time on property is going to be spent out on the farm. We have 3 private beaches to explore. It's a 6,000-acre working station or ranch in New Zealand. We call that a station. So very active, very outdoorsy. Typical length of stay is going to be 2 to 4 nights. There's, as I said, 3 private beaches. There are miles and miles of walking trails, mountain bike tracks, native forest, beautiful waterfalls to explore. We're looking at here Pink Beach, which is the southern of those 3 beaches. So we do a barbecue here every evening in summer, every Friday evening in summertime, or ad hoc for FITs or small groups. This is really the cultural heartland of New Zealand as well. So if anyone wants to explore that cultural heritage side of New Zealand, great place to do it. The far north is really the birthplace of both Polynesian culture in New Zealand and also British colonial history. So what we're looking at here is one of the Kauri tree, which are on the property. Kauri are a very important tree in our Māori culture. These are separate. These are said to separate the sky from the earth. So Kauri trees grow to allow light into the earth. So we take our Indigenous culture pretty seriously here in New Zealand as it's a big part of the experience. When people do come down to stay, it's something they can really get into up north in particular. One of the USPs at this property, Kauri Cliffs, we have a world top 50 golf course on site. So it's a David Harmon design from the mid-90s. And as mentioned, if your clients are golfers, 100% this is going to be on their bucket list. We're not a golf resort as such. If you're a non-golfer, you're going to have a wonderful 2, 3, 4 days. Part of that experience might be, hey, grab a golf cart and go drive around. It's going to be the best 2-hour self-guided, self-drive experience in the country, with a bottle of wine and a picnic camper. If you are golfers, you're going to have the week of your life. So just looking further at room types here. So this is the 2-bedroom villa. This was the owner's original residence. So this is one of the original accommodation types on property. And then we've just opened, as I mentioned, during the pandemic, these 3 4-bedroom villas, which really set the property off. Slightly separated from the main accommodation areas. If you're looking to the right of this image, you can see that large little patch of native forest, and you might look closely and see a few little chimneys poking out of that. So that's the rest of the 22 suites dotted through that little patch of native forest, everyone with their own private balconies, everyone's got ocean views, everyone's got golf course views. And on the other side of that patch of forest is the main lodge. So as I mentioned, that's just social and dining. Accommodations are all separate from the main lodge. So these 3 4-bedroom villas are all identical in style and design, different color schemes and different touches inside, but they're certainly uniform elsewhere. Sweet overview of the property. As I mentioned, this isn't a golf resort. The golf course does come pretty close to the property, but we certainly don't pitch ourselves as that. We do, Friday evening canapes and cocktails, grab a putter, go wander around on the little practice green here. We do, there might be drinks out there one night, might be barbecue. So we want to engage people in that, but we certainly we don't turn off non-golfers. I'm going to play a wee video here, and I will hope it has some sound. It's just some music in the background, so not a deal breaker if it doesn't. But this will give you a little bit of a taste of what the property has to offer. So I mentioned it's about a 6,000-acre working farm. Internally, it was set up like a South Carolina homestead, which is the Robertson's original home. This is the essence of Kauri Cliffs and the Bay of Islands in the north, where white sand beaches and palm trees, as I said, it's sailing, fishing, walking trails and mountain bike tracks on site. We can get out and do farm experiences here as well, but we touch on that more at our second property, Cape Kidnappers, which we'll see as we go. So arriving at the property, actually drives through some of this farmland. A pretty active property. People are going to spend a lot of time exploring and getting out on the estate itself. People might also spend half a day in the nearby village of Kerikeri, perhaps looking at some of the other historical sites around the region, or out on a sailing boat or out on a fishing cruise. That's when you're going to spend time off property up at Kauri. So then moving further down the country, we're at Cape Kidnappers, and there's a story behind that name. This is a little peninsula out onto the east coast of New Zealand. As you can see here, we're about a 40-minute flight from Auckland. So in early colonial times, the local iwi or tribe that were based here spotted Captain Cook's, who was a British colonist, spotted his boat sailing offshore, and they went out to meet them and noticed there was a brown-skinned boy on the boat, and not realizing he was a cabin boy that the ship had picked up in Tahiti. They thought he'd been taken from the village around the corner, and a battle ensued. So hence the name. That's how this district got its name of Cape Kidnappers. Nothing more sinister than that. There's certainly no modern context behind it. So something that people always pop up and ask and say, what's the story there? You're turning people off, but there's a great story behind it. So this property, similar to Kauri Cliffs, again, it's about a 6,500 acre working farm, and this one really is about the farmland and the connection to the whenua, to the country. It's more of a farming experience than you'll see up at Kauri Cliffs. And we're right in the heart of wine country, as I said, in the Hawke's Bay, which has just been elevated to great wine regions of the world status, which apparently is an important thing for onophiles. This is what I'm hearing. So that's a new development, and we'll start to amplify that certainly. Different style and design to Kauri Cliffs, that's more in that sort of colonial heritage homestead. This one's a much more rugged look and feel. Different interior designer. This is Linda Bedell out of Aspen. Again, very active property, around about 6,500 acres, as I said, and it sort of spans the length of what you can see here. So right out on if you might remember from that map, it's a little pointy peninsula at the end there, and that's what you can see on that right-hand side out to the Shark's Tooth. Four-wheel drive touring, great way to get out and explore the property. We also have an ATV, which will pop up in the videos you'll see when we get to this one. Very much about the food and wine story here, as at all three of our properties, heavily food and wine focused. Currently, we're an all-inclusive dining experience. All of our tariffs are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You do get to, get out with the chef. There is some farm-to-table, activity type going on here at Cape, more so than the other properties again. Spa at all three properties, more developed at Kauri than at Cape, but certainly is available there. We are, again, 22 suites on this property, and we have one 4-bedroom villa. So they're all around, 60 to 68 square meters, all generous. Everyone's got a balcony. Everyone's got views out over the ocean, out to the farm. We do have some interconnecting suite options here for families and the like as well. But if we do have larger groups, this 4-bedroom villa certainly does the trick. It can also be set up as a 2-bedroom. So we can split that, and it can be sold as a 2 or a 4. Great for entertaining small groups. Again, super active destination, and we really lean into the farming side at this property, so you can get out with the shepherd and watch him with his dog working the sheep, and it's quite an interactive experience as well. Kids can shear a sheep, they can get out and whistle the dogs and get them to go and fetch sheep from paddock A to paddock B. It's actually a really cool experience. I did it myself, and even as a veteran Kiwi, I still had a great time out there. Again, miles of private coastline on this property. So what you're looking at in the middle there is Flat Top Reef. This is over on at Rangaika Beach, which is kilometres and kilometres of white sand beach we have access to only by Can-Am and ATV. Up on the right there, there's the world's largest inland gannet colony, which is a species of seabird which settles in summertime. So you can get up close and personal with those guys. Down in the middle here on the bottom of this image, showing a kakapo, and one of the unique features of this property is about 1,000 acres which have been fenced off for wildlife conservation. So focused specifically on our native New Zealand birds, the kiwi, amongst many others. So we have a breeding program here, and it's a pretty big part of the operation, and guests can get out and experience that with a conservation ranger. It's a pretty cool way to see that side of New Zealand. As with Kauri Cliffs in the north, this one has a pretty incredible golf course on site as well. This is a Tom Doak design, who, if anyone's into their golf, he's a bit of a rock star designer, and people will travel around the world just to play at his courses that he's designed, and this is a pretty special one. Again, we don't sell ourselves as a golf resort. This one is slightly further away from the main lodge, and if you're standing on your balcony in your suite, you're not actually going to see it unless I point it out to you. But those that are into it will certainly be chomping at the bit to get out on this one. If you've picked up a golf magazine in the last 20 years, that's on the cover. So again, a wee destination video here. You can imagine some nice soft piano music over the top of it. Otherwise, I'll try and talk you through what you're seeing. So quite a large estate, quite a lot of it's forested, and getting out and exploring it in the ATVs is a pretty great way to see the property and understand some of the intricacies of it. As I mentioned, it's very much an active farming destination, so we lean into that side of the operation here. 22 suites, 4 of which are in this main lodge section, and the rest are sort of strung out on the ridgeline behind. So those lodge suites do give us the opportunity for people that want to stay in property, or might have mobility issues, or elderly, or kids that want to, families with kids that want to be interconnecting. Golf course here, as I said, it's very lightly played. So as with Kauri Cliffs, non-golfers grab a golf cart, go for a drive, and you get to experience some of the stunning scenery out there. Miles of walking trails and mountain bike tracks as well. We do a lot of there's a horse riding operator on property. This is the best way to get out and explore. And this is my favorite activity in all of New Zealand. This Can-Am tour. It's not self-drive. We don't want anyone herring around corners like that and putting anyone at risk, but it's the guys that run this actually live and work on the neighbouring property. They're a fantastic bunch. What we're looking at here is the predator-proof fence. So wildlife sanctuary on the left, farm on the right, just to give you an experience and an understanding of the scale. And that is Cape Kidnappers. So then moving further down the country to Matakauri Lodge. So we're just outside the small city of Queenstown. So anyone that's heard of New Zealand or looked into the destination, Queenstown's probably the one destination you've heard of. And this property, we're about 7 minutes outside of town, perched on the top of on the top of this little patch of native forest. And if I turn my computer around after this, that's exactly what I'm looking at out the window right now. We're in our spring, so we're at the end of the ski season. There's a little bit of snow around all the mountains, but the sun's shining, it's blue skies. That's your quintessential Queenstown experience. Super busy destination. So Queenstown's a very active little city. Think of a small Jackson Hole or Aspen. It's restaurants and bars and shopping. We're right in the heart of the Central Otago wine region as well. So people who get out touring the region, the food and wine again here is a pretty big part of the experience. So this is our shoreline at the property here. We have a little private jetty as well, which we can do water arrivals. We do yoga down there in the mornings in summertime. We can do private dinners on that wee jetty as well. Queenstown, this is the destination piece, right? So if at the other 2 properties, 80% of your activity is on site and exploring the properties themselves. Lots of Queenstown activities outside of our gate. So you're going to helicopter over to Milford. You're going to explore the Dart River ecosystem on a jet boat. We're a ski resort in winter, so June through September, October. We have 3 ski resorts, which we access here from the property, or heli skiing just up behind us. We're wine country. So the Central Otago wine region is one of the better known Pinot Noir producing regions in the world. And what you can see here down the bottom is right on our doorstep. This is the smallest of the 3 lodges. So we're only, we have 12 suites plus a 4-bedroom villa. So very much a little boutique resort. And we're about a 10-acre estate here, heavily forested with native forests. So you wake up in the morning, you walk through the property, and you're hearing native bird song everywhere you go. And it's a beautiful little oasis just outside of the really bustling little city. So we're looking at the 4-bedroom villa here. So this was built in around 2016. The property itself was from about 2009. The Robertson Group acquired it in 2011, full refurbishment, and then added this 4-bedroom villa around about 2016. Can be split up and sold as a two. And eagle-eyed spotters out there might recognize some of these as where William and Kate honeymooned back in the day. So something that a lot of people can relate to. The art collection around the property is quite incredible, as it is with the 2 North Island lodges as well. The Robertson family were prolific art collectors, and there are half a dozen Picassos scattered around the lodge. And as part of the Robertson Family Trust, there is the family's art collections coming out from New York to New Zealand later on this year. I think around about $150 million art collection, which will be bequeathed to the Auckland Art Gallery. So the family are very much part of the New Zealand art culture, and we're really excited to show off a lot of that on our properties themselves. So Matakauri, Queenstown is very much a 4-season destination. So this was taken July this year. We're a ski resort in winter time, and the rest of the year we're biking, wine country, fishing, hiking, cycling through the river systems out to the wineries. We don't often get snow like this on the property. This will happen sort of once or twice a year, which is probably welcome to most people who live through snow in the Northern Hemisphere. But it's certainly, it's lovely to look out the window when it's here. And as I said, we access 3 ski resorts pretty close by. Again, we'll show you a wee destination video, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of experience about what it's like to be at Matakauri Lodge. So we're tucked away in this little native forest region, around about 7 kilometers from downtown, so we can explore the city pretty easily. We have access to all this lakefront here. There's walking trails which run along that bottom of that lakefront out to some of the little local national park areas to get out and explore. We can do water arrivals, so we're around about 15 minutes if you're jumping on this boat from the airport. So there's a jetty about 2 minutes drive from the airport. We can be out here pretty quickly. We don't have helicopter access on the property, but we use a landing space just up behind the lodge. It's around about a 5-minute drive, and we'll see that as we get through further on this one. So this is all accessible by those walking trails from just out front of the lodge. So this one's about a 5-minute drive up behind the lodge up to this area, Moke Lake. So walking trails, mountain bike tracks, and we use this as our heli access point. But it's a pretty neat place to get out and explore with a picnic, and we send people up here pretty regularly. So that's us in a nutshell. We're 3 very distinct and unique lodges, and in 3 very unique parts of New Zealand, sort of spanning the length and breadth of the country. And we'd like to think an itinerary utilizing all 3 of these lodges gives you a really solid exposure to what it is to be in New Zealand and to have a full itinerary. We would expect to see about 25% of our guests will use at least 2 of their properties on New Zealand itinerary, and around about 10% will use all 3. New Zealand tends to be about a 10 to 12 night proposition for North American guests. So dipping out of 2 or 3 of our properties is certainly on the cards for a lot of them. We have a central reservations team which will help put those itineraries together and can manage that whole thing sort of end to end, or we obviously work with all of our DMCs in New Zealand to produce those itineraries. I promised you an outside shot, so I might just step out here onto the balcony. I'm just parked up on one of our suites.
You're going to give us a treat.
Hopefully the sun's not too bright and you can actually see what's out here. How's that looking?
Wow. So it's beginning fall here in the USA, and you guys are south of the equator, so it's the beginning of your summer. You're coming out of your winter.
That's
So,
right. So we're heading into summertime now, which is really the peak season for our North American and European clients, obviously. But look, we're starting to see a shift from it used to just be December festive through to the end of Jan Feb. We're sort of seeing that spread right, 1 October right through to sort of 30 May. We're really seeing that North American season spread out into those shoulders. Look, it's the climate here is super mild. So look, even if you're coming down here in the middle of winter, I say we're a ski resort. If I'm heading out to pick up dry cleaning or to go to the bank at lunchtime, I'm okay like this. I'm not wearing 5 layers. We're not in Michigan. It's pretty comfortable out here. It's pretty mild. We can ski in the morning and play golf in the afternoon. It's a pretty mild destination. And then in the North Island, we're quite tropical in the far north. So Kauri Cliffs almost feels to me like you're in Hawaii up there. It's that sort of steamy, coastal experience. Cape Kidnappers is, that super dry sort of mid, it's that we're wine country up there and farmland. So yeah, it's a pretty mild destination where there's a year-round opportunities for families, honeymooners, couples, multi-gens. It's a pretty well-rounded destination, and it's easy to sit here and say, hey, listen, no matter who your client is, we can do something for them, but it's a reality, and hopefully that message comes across.
So James, how far did you say Milford Sound was?
Right, so Milford Sound from here, we're from helicopter from up the road here, we're around 35 minutes straight line across to Milford by helicopter. So a half day touring is a real, or 80% of our guests that are staying here at Matakauri will do a half day or full day heli experience.
Yeah.
I should mention as well, we talk a lot in New Zealand about, you're going to fly here, you're going to fly there, you're going to fly. A 10-12 day itinerary in New Zealand is probably going to involve 4 to 5 domestic flights. That's not something to panic about. Catching domestic air in New Zealand is like getting a bus. You turn up 30 minutes before your flight. There's probably no security. I think only 2 or 3 of the airports have security, depending on the size of the plane you're going. So, it's not like flying from Atlanta to Chicago, which took me half a day. When I was up there in May, and cost me a few grey hairs. New Zealand Air domestic travel is pretty comfortable. It's not an arduous experience.
Very foreign to us Americans. That's the way it used to be back in 30,
Right.
40 years ago, but no longer.
Yeah.
But that's great to hear. So,
the longest flight in New Zealand is Auckland to Queenstown. So it's a 90-minute flight, and you're going to turn up 45 minutes before your flight and walk on. So getting around here, you're not losing days or half days traveling from place to place.
that's refreshing.
And it's the best way to get around. Look, it's a small country. It's about the size of California. But driving, there's no big highways, 8 lanes straight, which is going to take you from A to B. So it certainly is a flight destination. People might grab a car and do 3 or 4 days self-drive while they are here, get out and do a little bit of touring. But we also have obviously guides and private drivers in all destinations to manage a lot of that stuff as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your presentation, and it's off to Marie. We're going to the South Pacific now.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. So I'm just going to go, let's see. Sorry, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen, and hopefully it's working.
Yep, I can see it.
Wonderful. So we are going to be starting in Fiji, which is hop, skip, and a jump, I guess, from New Zealand. And this is Kokomo Private Island, on a private island off of the main island of Fiji. 45 minutes from Nandi International Airport. It's a very small property, which is, again, less than 30 units on a beautiful destination. It's actually owned by a billionaire real estate developer in Australia. And as the story goes, he was flying over Fiji, saw this island, fell in love, and decided to buy it, as one does. So that is how Kokomo Private Island, Fiji came into existence. So how do you get there? From the US, especially from the West Coast, there are plenty of direct flights to Nandi. Once you land in Nandi International Airport, you will be swept up by a Kokomo representative who will then whisk you away to their private aviation hangar, about a 10-minute drive from the airport. There, you get checked in, and you'll plan this ahead of time, of course, but from there you can either take a seaplane directly to Kokomo Private Island, which is right over here, or the other option would be a helicopter. So the helicopter is about 60 minutes and the seaplane is about 45 minutes. I've done both. As you can imagine, they offer incredible views, and it's quite the experience to land or depart from Kokomo Private Island on either one of those vessels. So again, as you can see, this kind of outlines where the direct flights to Nandi are from various parts of the world. So this is the island, as you see right here, and this is the seaplane. Kokomo Private Island actually owns all of the aviation. So you have these pristine vessels at your service. The seaplanes are immaculate. The helicopter is the same. Again, they are all owned by Kokomo, so everything is in their kind of direction, and they manage it all. So again, when you book Kokomo Private Island, you work with their reservations team on booking all of these flights to the island. And so this is the overview of the island, and the resort mainly falls on kind of this part of the island. The rest of it has some employee housing and whatnot. But again, you can see it takes place mostly over here. And this is kind of an inset that I wanted to show you, because all of the units here are either pool villas or residences. And the pool villas are separated either to be on the sunrise side, which is over here, or the sunset side, which is over here. The units are exactly the same. And what the difference is the sunrise side over here sits more on a reef, so you can go snorkeling just off of your villa. And if you're on the sunset side, this is more of a true beach, so you can just go swimming. It's white sand and it's wonderful. And a lot of the activities, the restaurants, the activity center are all on the sunset side over here. So a lot of times we do say that the sunrise side tends to be a bit more private and quiet, only because, again, if you're over here, you have a lot of people that will be on the beach, going on the pontoon, swimming out, enjoying that part of the island, because again, the restaurants and the activity center is also on that side. So it really just depends on preference, whether you want sunrise or sunset. And then the 3 to 6 bedroom residences that are massive, and you'll see photos, those actually sit more on the interior island. So they don't have direct beach access. So that's one thing to note in terms of the differentiation. 1 to 3 bedroom pool villas on either the sunrise or sunset side. And then you have the multiple bedroom residences kind of again on the interior of the island. And so these are just some shots to show you of what it looks like. So again, you see this is more of the beach side, the sunset side, where you have the villas here. They're all very private. You have a lot of privacy. Every villa has its own pool, its own hammock, and its own separate living space. So even if you're in a 1-bedroom villa, you have a separate living space that's denoted right over here, and this would be your bedroom. Huge bedrooms, outside shower, inside shower, huge eggshell bath, plenty of closet space. Again, you have views for days, whether you're on sunrise or sunset. And again, this kind of gives you an idea. One thing on the sunrise side, you have a bit more privacy between the beach and your outside area. So you have kind of this vegetation in between. So it does afford a bit more privacy. When you're on the sunset side, the true beach side, again, you kind of have your outside area directly onto the beach. So again, just a few little differences, and it's all going to depend on personal preference. And these are just some of the photos of the residences. And again, these are spectacular. These are massive, giant homes, anywhere from 3-bedroom to 6-bedroom. And again, they're on the interior island, so they provide these incredible 360-degree views of the island, of the water, really just spectacular. You have huge pools. And one thing to note, Kokomo Private Island is an all-inclusive option. It's inclusive of all of your food and all of your non-alcoholic beverages. And then you have the option to buy into a beverage package. You also get all non-motorized activities included. You have nanny services from 9 to 5, so kind of office hours, if you will, when you get into your regular villas. When you book into these residences, you then have a 24-hour butler and 24-hour babysitting services included in your rate. So if you have families, multi-gen, it's a really great benefit to mention, because again, that free babysitting service is just, it means so much. Again, if you have a lot of children or just even one and you're looking to enjoy some adult time, you have that option for guests staying at Kokomo. These are just some more pictures of the multi-bedroom residences. As again, you can see here, sweeping 360-degree views of the water, and it's just spectacular. Lots of communal space, outdoor space, beautiful rooms, and of course, every residence will have an ensuite bathroom in the bedrooms. So again, just to give you an idea of the different design, and I would say the design kind of differs. In the villas, it has more of a Fijian design inside, and then when you go into these residences, it's a bit more contemporary. The Kokomo Private Island has plenty of food options for you. Have 3 restaurants. One is a Southeast Asian kind of street food grill. Then you have your more fine dining option, and again, an all-day informal beach dining option. They have their own farm on the island. They do endeavor to grow as much as they can on the island to feed everybody on the island. But of course, they do have to import some things because some things are just not growable on there. But the food is absolutely delicious. I will say one feat that is so impressive with Kokomo Private Island is that they change the menu in all of their outlets every single day. And I tell you, the food is spectacular. In terms of activities, again, you have all motorized and non-motorized sports. If you ask a local what the best activity to do is at Kokomo Private Island, Fiji, they will 100% say fishing. But if fishing is not your thing, you can go snorkeling, you can go diving, you could spend time with their 2 on-site marine biologists. Kokomo Private Island is the closest luxury resort to the Great Astrolabe Reef, which is very famous amongst the diving set. You can see manta rays, you can see live coral, you can see plenty of fish. It's pretty incredible. I did the snorkeling there and it was just magical. Or you can do nothing and just sit on the pontoon, sit on your balcony, sit on the deck, whatever it is, and just really enjoy the beauty that's all around you when you're staying on the island. It has a lovely spa here as well. As you can kind of see, you can get spa services either in a traditional room or have it somewhere around the island. Again, you can stand up paddle boarding. You can do, I don't think there's surfing nearby, but you can do snorkeling. And then again, they have various boats as well that you can take around to explore different islands, have private destination picnics to neighboring places. So again, at Kokomo, you really can do as much as you want or as little as you want and just enjoy the natural beauty of where you are. So that's Kokomo Private Island, Fiji. Again, it is an all-inclusive option. Everything food and non-alcoholic beverages are always included in your rate, and then you can buy into an alcohol package. Every room has babysitting included. If you're in a pool villa, it's kind of during office hours. And if you are in a residence, it's a 24-hour babysitting service that you have. So it's really a wonderful option, whether you're looking just for straight romance, or you're doing a multi-gen vacation, or you're doing couples traveling together. Again, you have so many different room configurations and so many different options in terms of activities that I think it really does appeal to any traveler looking for just any sort of either relaxing vacation or an active vacation in a beautiful beach destination. And from there, we're going to move a little farther east now to Tahiti in French Polynesia. This is the Brando, very famous private island resort as well. Marlon Brando spotted this atoll when he was filming Mutiny on the Bounty all those years ago. Again, fell in love and decided to purchase the island. So this is what the Brando is. Of course, the resort is only on one of the small islands, but the entire atoll is a part of the Brando experience. And again, when you land here at the Brando, it's just such a magical experience to see the water going from the darkest blue to just the really clearest white. But French Polynesia, I think, again, really does have the most beautiful water in the world. So the Brando has 35 units, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom pool villas. All of the units here have pool villas. How do you get to Tahiti? Tahiti is very well connected, no matter where you're coming from. Obviously, the West Coast has a lot more of the connections, but even if you're coming from Hawaii or Australia or Asia, again, there are a lot of direct flights going into Tahiti. Once you land in Papeete in Tahiti, very much like Kokomo, you will be met by a Brando representative. They will take you to the hangar for Air Tetiaroa. And from from that hangar to the island of the Brando, it takes you about 15 to 20 minutes in a small aircraft. So, and again, that is all booked when you go through the booking process at the Brando. Right now, Air Tetiaroa flies from Papeete to the Brando. Tuesdays of this year, there are direct flights from Bora Bora directly to the Brando, which is great because it kind of eliminates that extra connection in Papeete in Tahiti. We don't know yet if that direct flight on Tuesdays will continue into 2024. We certainly hope so, because obviously so many people do pair the Brando with Bora Bora. So it's really a game changer. Again, the connection in Tahiti doesn't add that much time to your travel to the Brando, but of course, everybody loves a direct flight. So this is the island where the Brando, the resort is. And as you can see right here, this is where all of the units are, the pool villa units, and then the main center of the island where you have the restaurants, the bar, reception, etc. And then everything else in the rest of the island is uninhabited, things that you can certainly explore, but the resort only takes this small footprint over here. And I wanted to show you an aerial view of what the pool villas look like. Again, you have a lot of privacy, so much foliage around each unit that you feel very cocooned when you stay at the Brando. It's just kind of the most ultimate luxury and ultimate privacy that you can get. This is the interior of a one-bedroom pool villa. And again, the design of all of the pool villas will be very similar to each other. They have some Tahitian elements in there. Beautiful bathroom, 2 sinks, lovely outdoor bath, indoor shower, outdoor shower. And you can see everybody also has their own private pool. And then from the pool, again, you kind of walk out a bit more, and then you have the beach directly there. So very similar to Kokomo as well. You have a sunrise side and a sunset side. And again, the two places differ. Again, one is more of a reef that allows you to snorkel right off of your room. And the other side is more of a pure white sand beach where you can just go swimming. So it's really, again, up to you what you like. But I can tell you the interior of all of the villas are exactly the same. So it really doesn't matter what side you're on. You're going to love your pool villa. And these are just some options of the food and beverage here as well. Again, the Brando is all inclusive, so you can do a breakfast only option when you go to the Brando, or you can do full board, which includes every single meal and all of your beverages. So again, you can pick and choose the package that you want to buy into at reservation, at time of reservation. They have informal options like the Beachcomber Cafe. They're more fine dining, Les Mutinees. They have a teppanyaki restaurant with just 10 seats. So you can imagine that's quite coveted. And then you can, of course, do destination dining anywhere around the island. And they have 2 spectacular bars with lovely tiki drinks, great wine. So it's a great time no matter where you dine. They have a beautiful spa where you can do plenty of different treatments. They have hot and cold areas, wet and dry areas. And again, places where you can just relax, do yoga on a beautiful platform, or just go and enjoy really the scenery of this beautiful kind of cocooned spa as well. And one spa treatment is included, 1 spa treatment per day for every unit, for every bedroom. So if it's a couple sharing a 1-bedroom unit, you get 1 spa a day, and you can double up on those. So if you want to do a couples massage, you can just wait till the 2nd day, and then you would have 2 massages available for you. Again, being a private island, you have plenty of motorized and non-motorized sport activities. There are a lot of activities to be done just on the island with the bikes that are available. Every villa has its own bike. You can walk trails. You can do wonderful green tours. The Brando has a huge focus on sustainability. They have 2, again, on-site marine biologists, but also they have a very intricate kind of no waste policy here. And you can kind of do a tour of the back of the house to see all of the things that they go through and all of the things that they endeavor to do to really try and make this a zero waste resort. The air conditioning here is done through seawater, which is very unique. Not many resorts in the world do this. I think there just might be 2, and they're both in Tahiti, and one is the Brando, and that way they save energy and all of those things. So that is a quick dive into the Brando. Again, a beautiful private island destination in French Polynesia on the island of Tetiaroa, just off of Tahiti. Between the two properties, honestly, you cannot go wrong. They're just different destinations, different environments and different ambiance. So I think it really just depends on the type of experience that you're looking for that will really dictate which one would be better for you.
Awesome, Maureen, wonderful. I do have a question. Talk to me about the season for Tahiti and Fiji, rainy season versus when the prices are higher versus prices are lower.
Yeah, so you start seeing prices increase at the Brando probably beginning April, because you're kind of getting, kind of November to March-ish would be their wet season. So April going forward into summer is when those prices are going to go up. And again, peak is really kind of like July, August. But again, with the way that things are changing with the weather, I was there in March, which is considered their wet season, and we had absolutely spectacular weather. So it's just really hard to kind of predict now how the weather will be, but I tell you, even if it's rainy, to be at the Brando or Kokomo, you're going to have a spectacular experience because it's just so beautiful. And just the people are so warm in Fiji and in French Polynesia. Just experiencing that culture also is just really a highlight at both places.
That's wonderful. So would you happen to know the ratio between families versus couples looking for romance versus family vacations? Would you happen to know that? Because it could vary from week to week, month to month.
It can. And I say the Brando, I think the Brando, you would probably see less families on any given day. Again, they have multiple bedroom units, up to 3 bedrooms. But I think just with the ambiance of the Brando, if you are bringing children, you probably would want to bring maybe slightly older children. It just has a much more sophisticated feel. Again, they welcome kids of all ages, but just going there and kind of seeing the ambiance and how things are, I think, I don't know, of course you can bring little children, but I just feel like it's a bit more of an sophisticated environment. It's very quiet. People kind of stay within their bubble of whoever they're traveling with. So it's very different. But again, you can do that. I would say at Kokomo, you will probably see more multi-gen and more families with children, just because they do, and I failed to mention, they do have a kids club and a teens club, because those babysitting services are included. That is also a big draw for a lot of families. It's not overrun with families, but again, I think that on any given day, you would probably see more multi-gen and families at Kokomo, just because some of the services that they provide. And again, they do have those multiple bedroom residences that are just massive, beautiful units, up to 6 bedrooms. So again, that obviously is going to draw bigger family units, or again, multi-gen or people with children.
Awesome. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this presentation, because I know I did. I'm very inspired. So I wanted to thank my guest co-hosts Maureen and James today for showcasing your products, and I hope somebody out there who's watching is inspired. And if you want more information, rates, or reservations, please reach out to me. I'm Teresa from Honeymoon Islands, and I will leave my contact information below. And until next time, cheers, everyone. Thanks, Maureen. Thanks, James.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Stay tuned for more episodes that will unveil new horizons and immerse you in the beauty of global discovery. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, if you can dream it, we will create it.